Would anyone else like to take a moment to come on? That would be awesome.
Who's that? Who? I know him.
Hello everyone, I'm Caleb, Josh's older brother. We're very close in age. And when Josh first told me who Mark was, I really didn't know who he was talking about. He said, well, he goes to our church. Okay, I wasn't quite sure who he was talking about. He wanted me to meet him, and I was 16. I just got my driver's license, and he's like, well, he's down at the river right now. He's fishing. Okay, did he tell you he's going to be down at the river? Well, he's always down at the river fishing. Well, this is before, I'm pretty sure I got a cell phone maybe a year later, but we borrowed parents' cell phones, and I'm like, Josh, how do you know he's down at the river? Well, he walks down there. He's down there every day. How old is he? He's 14. Oh, okay, so makes sense. He walks down there, and I'm like, that is unusual. And I had to meet this guy, because I like fishing too. And I just got into hunting the year prior, and I was so excited to meet this guy. And Josh, the way he described him, I'm like, oh, this is this. I grew close to Mark the more I fished with him and got to know him and see his interaction with Josh, and they were best friends. And I had my best friend, Matt, and it was just so nice to see them hanging out together. I'd have Matt over at our house to spend the night. Josh would have Mark over to spend the night, and we were there, I'd say, almost every Friday or Saturday, every other, getting together and hanging out. And then Josh, Mark, would go to his room, and I would go to my room with Matt. We'd go to bed, and then some nights, Josh and Mark would go, hey, can we sleep with you guys? And I'm like, dude, we got a queen size bed, I guess. And every single time this happened, they would hop into our bed, my bed, I say ours because it was Matt's too, I guess. Mark, Josh, Matt, and I. And I'm sitting there sleeping. I'm like, I gotta do the paper out in the morning. I am not getting good sleep. And I get up at around, 11:30 or 12. I'm like, get out, Josh, get out, Mark. Josh would, boo, oh, he's angry. So Josh would go back to his room. Mark just did this. He doesn't see me. He doesn't know I'm here. Mark, yes? You too. Go back to Josh's room. Okay. He graciously went back. As the years got longer, Josh started working at Pine Valley, changed his life tremendously. Just amazing place. If you're not familiar with Pine Valley, Josh started working there every summer. And I miss Josh. Mark missed Josh. And Mark would call me frequently. We'd hang out more and more. Hey, Caleb, what are you doing? Oh, I'm working. Well, I'm going to be down at the river tonight. If you want to come on down, I'll be down there. Okay, Mark, I'll come on down. What time are you coming? I get off at 7:30. I'll be at 8 o'clock. All right, pick me up. Okay, Mark, I can pick you up. All right, sure. Mark didn't get his driver's license till he was 18, if you guys remember. He was very reluctant in doing that for whatever reason. But he would always call people and have connections. People would always be willing to pick him up and just love spending time with him. I deleted it. It's gone. Throughout the years, I've spent more and more time with Mark. And I think Mark remembered Josh through me, and Mark reminded me of Josh. One time we were fishing with Josh, and Josh went off, disappeared. Mark's like, let's get him. What are we going to do, Mark? Because Josh, he didn't really pay attention to fishing and hunting. He just liked to be around the water. We tied a big stone on Josh's fishing line, threw it out there. We said, we're going to get him. Josh came back, reeled it in. I got a big one! We just started laughing. Why are you guys laughing? It's really big. And he reeled it in, and we just hit the ground. Josh was upset, but he enjoyed watching us. Another time, Mark and I were just hunting by ourselves, school game. Mark's like, Caleb, yes? I really like hunting with you. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this is fun. He's like, you take it serious. You're not like your brother. Your brother scared the out of me the other day. What are you talking about? He said, we were hunting, and I was walking right in front of him. He was right behind me. All of a sudden, he hear him, boom!
Oh my God.
Mark turned around, Josh, what'd you shoot? Josh just, just laughing, just poking fun at Mark. He didn't see nothing, but he just wanted to scare Mark. Well, I got married, moved out to Colorado. I think a year later, Mark went out to Colorado, Grand Junction. And that's when my relationship with Mark flourished. He would come and visit me, and I'd go visit him a little bit too. Hey, is it okay if I come over? Yeah, Mark. Jen and I would get so excited every time Mark would come visit us. Because we felt we were on an island out there, didn't have family, few friends. But Mark was a connection back to home. And then Mark would just, he had a way of connecting other people with people. He brought John over to our house. Hey, is it okay if my dad comes over? Sure, Mark. Hey, is it okay if Jill comes over? Sure. Emily, sure. Donnie, you remember Donnie? Yeah, bring Donnie over. There's just all these different times. Melissa contacted us. Hey, we're planning on doing a little birthday party for Mark. Yeah, let's do it. It was just an amazing time. Jen went out away one time, and she went back to Cleveland. This was before we had kids. Mark was over. He was transitioning, I think, hoping to buy a trailer for North Dakota. We spent the week together. I'd have to work still and come home and like, I'll be waiting for you. Because Jen was gone. It's just Mark and I. It was just a wonderful week. We played video games and eat, drink, and eat. So much fun. But one night, she went back. I picked up Jen from the airport. Mark was gone. She was sad that she missed him. And she looked at me. She's like, what happened? I was all cut up, bleeding, and scraped to the knees and elbows and hands. She's like, what did you guys do? I said, we went mountain biking. Mark has a mountain bike? No. But you do. So we had one mountain bike. Mark and I were probably drinking too much. And we didn't want to drive our car to the bar, which was literally 2 minutes away. We were smart. And so we decided to share the bike. And neither one of us wanted to get on the handlebars, but we said, okay, Mark, you ride on the handlebars on the way there, and I'll ride on the handlebars on the way back. And there's a trail, a walking path behind the houses, not even on the road, that you get to the bar. So downtown. And we had a good time, and on the way back, it was my turn to ride on the handlebars, and I was like, okay, Mark, just be careful, man. I'm gonna hold on tight. I said, yeah, I gotta control this. I'm fine. We get to our neighborhood, we got home, it was up this one little hill. Mark started standing up the pedal. Mark, you can't stand up! Mark, you can't stand up! Because he was pushing me up and there was nothing to hold my feet. I just fell right over. And then he ran me over. Because he kept going. And I'm like, Mark, I told you sit down. He's like, you let go. I'm like, oh, I fell. And then he ran me over. I told you sit down. He's like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Oh my goodness. And I was a little embarrassed. But as the years went on, Jen and I moved back. Well, I should also say Mark babysat for us when we did have our first kid. But our lives changed throughout time. There's different windows of opportunities, and we moved back to Ohio. I stayed back closer to home. And a few years later, Mark moved to Ohio. And Mark brought with him the most kindest, precious thing of his life I've ever met. It was Margaret. And we had a couple trips to their house before they bought the barn. They bought the barn. Every time Josh and I would make a trip to see Margaret and Mark, and there were times they came to see us and our families. It's like Josh and I looked at each other. He really, really loves them. It was just amazing to see that. Know that guy for so long, to see the love he had for Mark. We're so excited for him in the next phase of life. He was an old man. He didn't make the most of every opportunity he had. He had no regrets. We all saw different parts of Mark, because Mark saw different parts of us, because that's how we got to know people. It was intentionally, with phone calls, with time, asking how your family was, how your wife, your children, by name, how your dog was. He loved dogs. He wanted me to bring my dog to his wedding. I'm like, Mark, I don't think I can do that. She's old. That's just how his heart was. Always connecting, always making most of every opportunity. And I was thinking about after his death, what good is going to come from this? And I told myself, no more regrets, no more lost opportunities, no more excuses. I'm going to make more phone calls, and I'm going to develop better friendships with people around me. Thank you.